some people who I consider to be very, very great minds and young people. I consider them to be thinkers and very creative. Some of the things they say and do provoke a lot of thought. So I'd like to introduce Life's Candid. Start with you.
Life to me seems perilous at times because of its monotony. These mundane days put my mind to shame. I'm so bored with reality. Can somebody show me a door where I might find more and it'll lead me to a secret place? Where restrictions and limits are non-existent in this place that has no name? Where any scenario is subject to change if you put in the work and the time? Where imagination creates vivid spaces if you decide to open your mind? Where superheroes are a common thing and villains balance out the scale? Where outcomes are impossible to predict, so you never know who will prevail? Where the scenery is so beautiful that words can't describe? I'll do my best to paint a picture and bring this vision alive. I actually found that door, and as an anti-hero, my whole life changed when I met this girl. These are the records of my experience when I was living in another world. I was living by my own law, doing what's right, but more so what's right for me. You define an anti-hero as one who doesn't have heroic attributes, but doesn't do villainous things. So half of the people love me because of my demeanor and the dedication I showed toward my mission. The other half hated me because I didn't fully embody the standards of a hero nor a villain. I've had many conflicts with villains, mostly ones who were sinister for no particular reason. But I also have issues with heroes who are only heroic because they want to be what people believe in. And during one of these conflicts, it was clear as day when a woman fell from the sky. I hardly save anybody, but I felt the need to save her, and I didn't understand why. I teleported from rooftop to rooftop to catch her before she hit the ground. She looked so dazed and confused when she sat up and started to look around. She had beautiful wings, so I asked her, "If you can fly, why are you falling down?" She looked in my eyes, she shed a tear, and told me that she didn't know how. I felt compelled to help. The sorrow in her eyes reminded me of my former existence. Before I walked through this door and my gifts allowed me to become uniquely gifted. I asked her where she was from, and she said she out of Washington. The perfect analogy to her life because it always rains before it gets light again. That's when I knew she stumbled upon this world during her failed suicide attempt. I shared with her that I've had those thoughts before, but here we are now exempt. Because in this world, reality is what we make it. We create beauty beyond comprehension. There is nothing that is unobtainable here, giving life a whole new definition. So I offered my hand and I told her to take it if she wanted to know more. She looked afraid, but from the touch of her hand, I knew she was ready to explore. So I took her to the beaches and I showed her how the sand is made out of gold. Then I took her to the city so she could see how nothing or nobody ever really gets old. Then I took her to my house and I told her that I live in these clouds because I love heights and the view of everything. She told me that she would like to build a house on the sea because she loves how it shines emerald green. I offered her a drink that was red and blue, and I gave her a fruit that was filled with nectar. Then I gave her a gift that would give her the power of flight. It was a jasper encrusted scepter. And then she said, "Why me?" And I replied, "Why not? I know that we just met, but you've been through a lot. I was just like you before I came to this place, trapped in a reality that I wanted to escape. But before you find your identity in this world, you must ascend and touch the stars in which you gaze." She said, "But the stars are too far, too hot to touch, and we can't breathe in outer space." I said, "You can bring them closer and cool their surface. All you have to do is have faith." So we grabbed the scepter and shot through the atmosphere and met the star that happened to be shooting by. I grabbed onto the left and she grabbed the right, and all of her destiny flashed before our eyes. She learned who she was and she learned how to fly. She learned that superpowers come from the inside. She learned that she was a heroine and that she had one mission: to form me into a true hero and eliminate the anti at the beginning. So she shattered the scepter and told me not to worry. She'll carry my weight on her wings. This solidarity that I carry is too much to bear, so she promised to take it from me. When we both touched the stars, she learned how I thought, and she told me that I was no longer alone. She understood the soaring meditations of my heart, and she said we'll find a way to bring peace to my home. Then she flew me to a garden that I've never even seen, where the trees and their leaves never fade. And the sky was yellow and the grass was red and all the animals could communicate. And she taught me about compassion and how every creature is connected. She said that my voice would be the instrument that would leave this world affected. So I put down my swords and I picked up my pen and I began to record every feeling in my heart. And she watched over me as I spent years in the garden, discovering a new way to restart. After the 5th year, she told me that my time was now. Let's go and address the nation. And I told her that the first time I was afraid, but I know that they needed to hear this revelation. So she flew me back up to the clouds, and I spoke to the people that live in the village. Then I spoke to the people that live in the upside down mountains, that they always drifted. I went back to the Emerald Sea, and I spoke to the people that live in the coves. Then I went to the city and spoke to the high kings and queens that live in their castles. I went to the land of constant snow, where it wasn't even cold, the people just liked the look. It was 73 degrees as I'm standing on a sheet of ice, reading out of my sentimental book. I went to the valley where the giants live, and they told me that my words held great power. I was so intimidated because everything in that land was 3 times the size of the Sears Tower. Then I looked at my angel, and I asked her to fly me back to my clouds because I'm finally ready to rest. I think my words influenced the change, and now unity is on the horizon. She said she was glad that I found my true mission and all of the work is done. I told her that she helped me discover so much, but the best thing I found was love. I asked her to stay with me forever and make my life a true paradise. She smiled at me. She shed a tear, and then she said, I have to decline. Her mission was to show me how I can make a change in this fantasy world, and how I wouldn't feel so alone if I gave my heart to a supportive girl. But to finish her mission, I had the slumber, so again I can finally awake, to open my eyes in my actual reality, where they too need a change. So I kissed her goodbye. She placed her hand on my eyes, and now here I am, back in Lorraine. But I carry her words, and I'm not hopeless anymore. I finally know my fate. I'm grateful for my trip and all that I learned in that place which has no name. I felt death was upon me when I discovered that land, so I call it the Great Escape. Where conflict ran rampant, where dreams came true, where the people were divided in every which way, where I fell victim to the system, but then heartfelt words made a difference, and that's why I do poetry today.